This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers. And today, this is day 39 of the Print on Demand Challenge. And we are going to be talking a little bit about pricing. So let me close some of my windows. I apologize for that. We just recorded some stuff. So I got to close all these windows. There we go. So the one thing, well, I don't know. Did I close something else? Okay. I think, nope. Yeah. Right. So what I'm going to talk about is your pricing that you're going to be selling your items for. So your price, I've always had this philosophy that your price is your price, but you should do some level of preliminary research to figure out for the thing that you're about to sell, what is it going for? What is the market willing to bear? Is there something special going on that this item is selling for much less now than what you are currently selling it for? And you should be mindful of what it is that you're ultimately trying to accomplish. When you first start creating listings and you first start selling your particular listings, you may not have an idea what you want to price them for. So you may choose to price them at the lowest possible price that's available, just so you can get a feel for one, the platform that you're selling on, the tool that you're using for the integration, and three, just to get some traction on your sales. But as you can begin the process of getting more familiar, more comfortable, then you got to start getting a little more strategic about what your pricing should be. So one of the things that I always like to do, let me just see how payments work, pricing. Okay. They haven't the app that we've looked at before. Let me just find it. There we go. So one of the things that I always like to look at when it comes to figuring out my price is I do want to know how much is this platform like going to charge me to be able to sell this item. When you're doing your downloadables or your printables, like that cost is whatever you decide it's going to be. But you should go out and look at your competitor. So I know the last couple of days we've been looking at smoothies. We were doing the smoothie exercise. So I'm going to pull up smoothie recipes. And as we go through and we kind of look at some of the pricing for some of the recipes, some of these items are ebooks and some of these items are just standalone recipes on their own. And so the prices vary a little bit. You see some down at 8 and 5 and things like that. So what I like to do is I like to go into the listing itself if it is something that has low competition. If you're selling a product that has high competition, then just looking at the first couple of ones for the long tail keyword that you use to search will give you a good idea. Hopefully that will be exactly what you're selling. But if there is not a lot of exactly what you're selling, if there's more ebooks or there's other kinds of things, then looking at a few of the listings that are just standalone for what you're selling. For this one, we're selling recipe cards. And I think we're selling 10 recipe cards. So if I go through and I'm like, okay, I can't find anything where it just says 10 recipe cards, then I can go through and look at a couple of these listings to figure out what I might price my particular item at. And if I look at the ebook, like if the ebook has, let's say the ebook has 10 recipes in it, then maybe it does make sense for me to price mine similar to what the ebook price is going to be. So this one is a 3-day juice cleanse. They're charging $8.99. I'm assuming that these are not, this says 30 pages. So I'm assuming it is an ebook. If I click on it, more than likely it will say ebook. This one clearly says ebook. This one says recipes. It doesn't say if it's an ebook or not. It says a 1-day smoothie, 7-day, not 1 day, 7-day a smoothie detox. 30 days of smoothies. So if I see that this is 30 days of smoothies at $4.99, we've got some 7 days up here that are more than $4.99. I want to see what I'm getting and price comparably. I can talk today. So for my 10 recipes, I might decide that I'm going to sell mine for, a lower price to maybe just start off getting a little bit more traction and getting some more eyeballs on my listing because I'm more affordable than others. But I also need to make sure that I've optimized my listing so that I actually come up in the search engine somewhere close to the top based on the keywords that the person is using to do the search. So if someone is coming through here and they're looking to see, oh, okay, this one is, $3.99 or $4.99 up in the first 5 to 6 without doing any lots of scrolling, they may bypass me if my main image is not as great as some of the other ones are, or if it feels like I'm not giving away or selling a quality product. So if I want my item, if I do a good job with my title and I do a good job with my main image, then being willing to charge, $5.99, $6.99, $7.99, I might be more willing to do that. I need to be mindful of whether or not my listing is going to be sitting next to another one where they're going to get more than what I'm selling. So this one is a 20-day. This is another 20-day. They're selling it for $14. So half of that, since there's 20 days and we're just doing 10 recipes, we're not saying how many days our recipes are. We're just doing 10 recipes. I might start saying, I'm not going to go above $7 for my recipe, for my downloadable. I'm going to stay below $7, but I'm not going to go any lower than, and I think there was one down here. Maybe I'll say $3.99. This was $3. So this one clearly says it's a digital download, and they're giving me a recipe, but they don't tell me how many recipes are in here. This is it. So they are showing the recipe and they're selling it for $3. I don't know if that's real or not. They might have rethought this, or maybe I don't know. I don't know why they would do it this way. But if it were me, I would definitely show a bowl, and I would say that it's a smoothie, 5-minute smoothie bowl, but I'm not going to give you the directions and the ingredients because you don't need to buy it from me for $3 at that point. So I don't know why they're showing the full recipe. In any case, if you've got a couple of different recipes, you need to indicate, and definitely make sure you indicate what they are. And I'm not going to go below $3, but I'm not going to go any higher than $7 for my 10 recipes. And I'm getting that information from looking at what's happening with my competitors and what they're selling. And is my product similar to their products or somewhat equivalent to it? And if it is, then I can justify my price. $3 is not bad, but again, I wanted to try, maybe go up to $3.99 and sell my product for that. And I need to be able to justify that. I also need to have amazing pictures looking at my competition. So whatever it is that you're selling, if you're doing downloadables, or printables, make sure that you've done a little bit of preliminary research for the keywords. Now, if your product can be found under a couple of different long tail keyword, phrases, then do that research first. See what the pricing is for those printables under the 2 or 3 different long tail keywords. So we've got smoothie recipes. Then we've got smoothie. I'll do smoothie bowl. I think that was the other one that we were smoothie bowl recipes. And then we could do smoothie recipe cards. That could be another one. And so I'm going to do all of that research first. And then once I do that research, that's going to help me figure out what my price point is going to be. But like I said, more than likely, this one's 21 nutritious recipes. But again, this does not look amazing. If it is helpful and it is good, I'm willing to do that. So they're only displaying, how many are they displaying? They're displaying 1, 2, 3, 4. They're displaying a full-on 8 out of 21. So someone would potentially spend the money to get the rest of them, since they're only displaying really close to 8 of the recipes. They're not displaying all of them, which is good. You shouldn't display all of them. Just display a couple so they can get an idea, but definitely have a better cover picture. So go do your research for the long tail keywords that people might be searching for your specific product. At least do 2 or 3 sets to figure out what the price points are for your comparable products. Look at your competition and find a price point that makes sense for the product that you're selling. And while you're at it, do what you can to, maybe you're going to tweak your main image. After you look at a couple of other products, maybe it makes sense to tweak your main image so that your product looks more appealing, even though you may be selling a little bit less than what your competitor is selling. Now, when it comes to the physical products, the great thing is that on a lot of the platforms, they do have a calculator. Printful does have a calculator. I just haven't been able to find it here. Calculator. No, maybe it is down here. Yeah, okay. So if I'm looking at the information from Printful, the design cost, again, if you're using Canva to create the design, that's fine. If the platform that you're choosing to sell on is going to charge you to create the design on their platform, meaning create the design versus just uploading an existing design, then you want to be prepared for that and be aware that that's a potential cost that's going to be deducted from everything. So is there a design cost for that particular item? What is it going to cost them to print it? What are the estimated shipping costs? And then are there taxes? Well, we all have taxes, so we all have to deal with that. And then the selling platform on which you plan to sell on, what are they going to charge you? So you can figure out, what do I really want to sell this thing for? So if I go and look at, let's say, I'm going to go look at religious t-shirts. I don't know that I don't know how. Okay. That one said honey, and I just don't even know why. Anyway, so there's a couple of different t-shirts that are cute. Some of them are very simple, like Make Heaven Crowded. That's very, very simple. I like the simple. This one is Grow in Grace. Again, very simple, nothing complex. Something you can easily do in Canva or some other tool. Not perfect, just forgiven, very simple. So if I'm selling a t-shirt, I'm going to go and I'm going to look at all the t-shirts that are in the area that I happen to be selling. If my design is simple, I'm going to look at the simple design t-shirts to get an idea of what they're selling it for. So this one, maybe there is mercy, the fabric. Most t-shirts are cotton, so maybe there's something more to this one that they want to sell it for $22.50. They clearly are doing well because you can see that they have a bunch of reviews, and more than likely this thing is getting a lot of traction. At $22.50, I find it hard to potentially buy that for $22.50 when this one visually looks a little bit nicer at $13.79, because this is very basic, but it's very straight to the point. You don't have to be flashy. This one's pretty much straight to the point too, and it's $8.65. So finding that sweet spot of where it makes sense to sell my shirt. This is not too terribly complex when it comes to creating a shirt. All of that you can do in Canva, and plus get that background, as well as this one. Again, not too terribly hard to create. So you got t-shirts for $9, $13.86, $13.79. The $22.50, I'm still trying to process that. This one is $10.24. I believe that's a t-shirt. That is a long sleeve shirt, so I'm not going to look at that. This one is $8.94. Just see. Here's a group of t-shirts, and these are $13.86. So as I look at the prices for whatever t-shirts that I'm interested in potentially selling, I see that a common price point is somewhere between $9 and $13 to $14. That's a common price point that I'm seeing over and over again. Yeah, pretty much. So as I look at that common price point, I'm going to come over and I can see that if I am selling my t-shirt, let's just say hypothetically, I want to be competitive with the other t-shirts, and selling my t-shirt using Printful, using their calculator at $8 to $9 or $14, there's not going to be a lot of profit. So the starting price for this particular t-shirt is $8.01. I don't know if this is a Gilead. You can go into your account and just do the research on which shirts and what their prices are. But this one says starting at $8.01. So if I'm going to sell this, and let's say I'm going to sell it for $13.76. Okay. So then my potential profit is $5.75. Okay. So I can look at that and go, okay, can I make this work? Did I lose everybody? No, I'm here. Can I make this work for me at $5.75? I stay competitive with everyone else that happens to be selling the same, or selling a t-shirt, a religious t-shirt. Can I make that work? Do I want to lower my price just so that I have more of an appeal, or do I just leave my price high and then offer some sales so I can get some traffic that way? But your goal at the end of the day is actually to start getting some sales, to putting up the designs so you can start getting some sales. You've got to figure out, again, what your price point is going to be. So I'm going to look at the price point, and these, like selling it for $9, I know I'm not going to make as much money selling it on this platform. Okay. So my potential profit is $5.75, but that doesn't factor in, this does not factor in the shipping. Let's see, cost, keep in mind. Yeah. So charge your customers enough to cover the shipping fees. And then that way you don't have to worry about it. And that's one of the things that you'll have to make sure in your listing, when you create your listing on Etsy, I was going to say eBay, that you include your shipping cost into that listing. So if I look at this one, which I think is kind of cute, I can see it's a bestseller, it's in stock, and they give me an arrival time. Coming down. So this one is telling in advance, the way that they set up their shipping policy and return policy, cost to ship is free. So I know that in this example, am not going to make any money if I decide I'm going to sell my shirt for $9. You can see that it's on sale. So they're saving, it's at 40% savings. So maybe the platform that they're selling on is offering some kind of deal. So they came over to their listing on Etsy and marked theirs down in the interim. At $15, I can afford to cover that because I believe the average shipping cost on Printful is like $3.99. So if the average shipping cost on Printful is $3.99, and I sell this for $15.99, and I will still have a profit after the $3.99 charge. I'll still have a little bit of a profit, and then I also have to factor in what am I going to make, or what am I going to be charged for the platform. So to sell it on Etsy, 20 cents is going to be my starting point. And then if I do any type of promotions or deals or anything like that, there might be some additional charges there. If I just keep it basic, I'm not doing anything extravagant, then the rest of that is my money. So volume is going to be the key. Volume is ultimately what you're trying to get at. Plus people, hello. Today is an active day. It's all right. Volume is ultimately what we're working to get to. But we have to test several designs in order to get to that place. So make sure that you're always figuring out what it is that I'm going to pay for the platform to sell this particular shirt. Make sure you're priced according to or within the range of your competition. Again, there might be a justification why some of these t-shirts are $22.99 or whatever it was before, $22.50, $24.99. There's got to be something special about that. Maybe it's a specific cotton blend or something like that to charge that. I'm going to, and if it's a nicer design, it's more elaborate, that makes sense. But if it's a simple, basic, design, then selling it for the lower price makes sense. We have everybody. Hello. All right. Hi, everybody. So anyway, we were talking about pricing. I apologize. We were talking about pricing. And when you go back and listen to the replay, I started off with your pricing, figuring out your pricing strategy for your printables, and then figuring out your pricing strategy for your actual physical products. Most of the platforms that you sell on, if you choose to start with Printful, which is our first exercise platform, then you have a calculator that is on this platform that will allow you to just do some estimates. But you do need to make sure that you're into profit, and you need to make sure that you're factoring in the shipping cost, and that you're also factoring in platform fees, taxes, and then the production cost. How much is it they're going to charge me to print this onto my print the design onto my product. Now, if you are doing bundles, you have to factor in, if your bundle is your downloadable, which again, you made it, and the only expense to you really is your time and the platform on which you created it on, whether it's Canva or some other tool. So that's your cost. And then sending it to your customer is sending that particular item to your customer, since it's a downloadable, is absolutely free. So there's no shipping cost there. But if you're intending to put it together as a bundle on the platform, on Etsy, as a bundle product, then you want to factor in to your cost for the item standalone and the secondary item. I have done in the past where I've included a printable with a print on demand product, and sort of given the printable away for free, just so it increases the perception of the order value, so the customer feels like they're getting something more. So an example of that might be if you do like the tumbler. I don't think we have it. So we've got a coffee mug. That's going to be the closest we can get to it. So maybe with the tumbler that we have mentioned before, because I think on Printful you have under Printful products, tumblers here. It's either Printful or Printify, pretty sure. Products. Hold on. Let me scroll down. I was trying to scroll down, but it did not cooperate. So let me just make it smaller. Come on. Water bottles. No, I want the tumbler. Okay, so whichever platform we were looking at when we were comparing platforms, I want the tumbler. Yeah, I can't see this price. But if this was the tumbler, it's not. It must have been Printify. Must have been Printify. Kellogg. Sounds like it's tumblers. Yeah, it was Printify. I was close. So taking something like this and deciding that I'm going to sell my recipe cards, and I'm going to put my recipe cards inside the tumbler. Now that's increasing the order value and the perceived value of the product. So I can raise my price. Of course, I'm going to charge for whatever the print on demand design that I put on here. So if I'm going to put fruit on the outside of it, that's fine, or fruit and vegetables on the outside of it, that's fine. And if I slip in, or I say I'm going to ship or give them the recipes, they can receive the recipe card as a downloadable. They don't have to come together, and they'll receive this separately. You want to put in the listing that's going to be shipped separately. And you may be able to take your tumbler cost. Maybe you're going to sell your tumbler for $11.99. Now you're going to sell it for $13.99, just because there's an increased perceived value. And they don't know that they're paying for the extra downloadable anyway, the increased price, because they're getting two things in one. So you can decide how you want to do that. You can decide what your method's going to be, but you need to factor in the cost. You also need to factor in the cost of, what you're going to charge for shipping. So I think for Printify, the shipping cost varies, whereas on Printful, the shipping cost is pretty standard. They start with, most of the time, $3.99, and they go up. You have to do some research, a little bit of research on each one of the products that you decide you're going to superimpose your amazing designs on, and figure out what that shipping cost might be. The last thing I do want to mention is that I have said before, I don't sell a lot of breakables or things that I feel like are, if I sold t-shirts, I'm going to make sure that the t-shirts that I choose don't have a history of major shrinkage. Like they're maybe pre-washed, so that I don't have to worry about that, or There's not a lot of bleeding of the color out of it. So I'm going to get my samples and wash one of my samples so that I know what's going to happen. If this is one of those that I feel like this might take off, or I'm going to always choose the Gilead t-shirt if that's what you want to do. So I want to do that because I want to minimize or manage my returns. My goal is once I get the money, once I charge my fee for whatever it is I'm going to be selling, once I get the money, I want to keep the money. I don't want to give money back. So if I'm going to sell this mason jar, I'd have to know how this is shipped in order for me to feel comfortable with it not breaking by the time it gets to the customer. Will the customer appreciate or like the mason jar with the design on the outside of it? Probably. But if it's not being shipped well, then that means there's going to be a lot of returns for me. And that means I'm not going to be able to keep whatever money I'm making off of this. And if I'm going to sell these, like I would, if I was going to do something like this, like if you contact the Printify or you find out how they're shipping it, maybe they're shipping it in a case. If they have the capacity to ship it in a case, it may actually arrive a little better than it would as a standalone singular, because they may do something different with the packaging. That means it's going to be increased shipping. But, think about weddings, think about family reunions, think about, 50th birthdays. Sometimes people want decorative mugs as a, something to decorate the room or the table for the event, for the festivities. And so they want that decorative stuff. So maybe deciding that you're going to create your listing and offer to sell it in larger quantities and larger batches, it may actually arrive there safely because it's packaged differently versus a standalone. And they may do an amazing job with packaging it standalone, but you probably want to get some samples so that you don't have a lot of stuff that's shipped that's broken up into 90,000 pieces. So each one of the platforms, like I said before, are going to have a price. Go back and look at the price. The calculator that is on Printify is a Printful, is a great little calculator. It doesn't cover all the prices because I know that they have more prices other than 801. But again, it gives you an estimated cost. And then as you actually add those things and put your designs on them, you're going to see the cost on the page for the exact one that you chose. So your exact one might be $691, or your exact one might be $747, or your exact one might be $816. It may not be $801, but then this is just an estimate. So what questions can I answer when it comes to thinking about your pricing? Is there anything that I can help answer when it comes to your pricing?
I've never sold a physical product on Etsy. So if you're listing it on there, would you prefer to set up the extra shipping cost as a shipping cost, or would you prefer to build that into the price and offer free shipping?
I would start off building it into the price and offer free shipping.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to see quick and dirty, if I'm creating, one design, two designs, three designs a day, I am just trying to figure out which one of these for the niche that I've chosen is getting some traction and is resonating with people. So I'm going to factor it into the price and do the free shipping. On Etsy, it will allow you to set up your shipping policy and your refund and return policy. So like in this one, I think at the bottom, so all of this is coming from her policies, or his, it could be a him, their policies. So you can set that up so that way, if anybody buys anything, this is all automatically defaults in. In some ways, it's very similar to what you do on eBay, because you can set up your shipping policy there and that stuff will default in. And you can go edit it for each individual listing, but it's the standard, whatever you set on your profile. So that's just me. I would offer free shipping just so I can get a feel for the platform, the process, and everything, and then begin the process of making adjustments from there. If I find the one that's a sweet spot that's getting a little bit of sales and traction on it, I'm going to offer it in a different color. So maybe I sold it black with white letters, and then maybe we'll sell a blue one with white letters and a purple one with white letters and whatever, and then maybe I'll put a little design or a cross on it and just keep going after this whatever is selling. and then at some point switch some of them to see if there's a direct impact on no longer offering free shipping and charging a shipping fee, and and making adjustments from there. If some people see that it's not free shipping and there's a shipping fee, they may run away from it, whereas other people are like, I'm okay with that. So I think the reality is, with a lot of people over the years that have bought from Amazon, seeing that free shipping has been a thing for a long time. They've been conditioned to pay attention to free shipping. And with everything that happened in the pandemic, some of that free shipping stuff sort of came back. So if I'm going to test drive a physical product, I'm going to offer free shipping. I may lower my price over on the over here. So instead of offering it for $15.99, I might offer it for, I don't know, $11.99 or $10.99, not $10.99, $12.99, because I know I got to cover free shipping, and knowing that I'm not going to make a lot of money. I'm not going to make a lot of money because I'm just testing this. And then once I figure out what works, then I'll go make adjustments from there. So I'm just trying to get eyeballs on my listing. I'm trying to make it attractive and appealing. I want to show up in the search engine or in the search results based on the long tail keyword phrase that you have typed in. And then I'll make adjustments from there. I may actually, if I have an amazing t-shirt, maybe I'll add a t-shirt and a hat, or a t-shirt and some socks. And then now I can take that price to something completely different and have a better profit margin just because I added a pair of socks or something like that. You will hear, if you do research, that Printful is, some believe, one of the more expensive platforms to sell from or to source from. But if you go back and do some of the math, like, you have to factor in everything. You can't just factor in the one price that you see, because if you use Printify, sorry, they have different suppliers. You may have 20 or 30 different suppliers to choose from. And each one of those different suppliers, they will have their own shipping costs. So, taking something, there was a exercise I went through once where maybe I was getting a shirt for $6.91 on Printful, and I was getting the shirt for, I don't know, $6.11 on Printify. The standard shipping on Printful is $3.99. Standard shipping on this other platform is not standard. So the supplier that I chose, they're charging, $5.50 for the shipping. So then I have a production cost that's associated with both of them. And once you do that math, it's like, okay, they're actually coming out to being pretty much the same. They're not drastically different. And so that's why I start with, let's play with Printful, and we can transition to other platforms. But start with them. They give you a calculator. It's very intuitive. It's easy. I get nothing for recommending them to you. I just think it's an easy integration. And then as you get more comfortable with playing with the tool and the integration with Etsy, then you can add some of the others. And if you can add some of the others now, doesn't matter. But I think offering free shipping is good, because I know what the shipping costs are for Printful. I know exactly what they are. I don't know what they're going to be for some of the other platforms. They may vary, and that could create challenges. I don't know if I answered your question. Did I?
Yep, that helped a lot. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So tomorrow, Monday, we're going to continue our journey, but we're going to, I will check to see what we're going to talk about. I know next week, or this week that's coming up, I know it's Sunday now, we are going to start diving into some of the setup for KDP and for, some of the book printing platforms. We're going to play with Lulu. We may play with KDP. So if you got an Amazon account and you're an Amazon seller, fantastic. You can let me know when we get there. If we're not one, then we're not going to go through that exercise. It's going to require you to do all the same stuff that you set up your regular Amazon account. So you just need to be prepared for that. So Amazon asks for a lot of stuff. They always do. All right. I think that's it for now. Thank you for your grace and mercy. I'm glad we have more people show up today. And with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now.